Alright, let's get started. Let me just check. Okay, it's a few seconds of latency. Perfect. I was messing around with the settings in OBS for recording this. I haven't touched OBS in a while, but still works. And it doesn't seem to be stuttering or anything, so that's great. Okay, let me actually put on Rainward playlist instead of just clicking the artist. Hey Dry, welcome. I think I turned off chat and notifications on stream for this one because recording material. Funny Rain Game. We might actually not even launch Funny Rain Game just yet. Actually, might have to launch to test stuff, but this will be a modding tutorial. Not playing modded, but modding the game. Let me just find the playlist that I want to listen to and then put it on repeat so it doesn't walk out of the playlist randomly. I think we're all set. This is Rainward Alpha Gems and Junk from James Primate. It was music that was either meant to be in the game or it's in there in arena mode, etc., partially unused. Alright, that out of the way. Desktop capture. Hello, Slugcat. Hey, Tauber. Hello, everyone. Missed ya. Yeah, okay, desktop capture works. I didn't plan this too well, and I think it's a good thing that I didn't plan it too well because I'm trying to teach you not how to do one specific thing, but more importantly, how to think the way you have to think to get things done. So I guess let's get started by finding our game and finding where the game files are, because we're going to need those for modding the video game, right? So if you go over Steam, if you never did this before, we're going to install the mod loader into the game, and we're going to look into downloading some mods. So first step is to find the game files. You can do it through Steam. If you know where the path is, you can just go directly there. And we're gonna do it this way. So these are the game files, and I could definitely and totally just install mods right here and have it work, and then when I launch the game through Steam, it's gonna launch this modded version of the game. But I don't like that. I like to keep this copy pristine and without a mod loader. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up one step. I'm going to copy Rainward and make the second copy and mod that copy. And now I could just Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V this, copy and paste. And that's gonna be a 4 GB copy that's gonna run through, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna do something slightly different. I'm going to create an empty file, an empty folder, and I'm just going to copy over what I need to copy, and I'll go over that in just a second. Rainward modded. So now we have Rainward and Rainward modded. Rainward is full of stuff, Rainward modded not so much. I'll put them side by side, and I'll talk about which one of these you need to copy and for what reason. Well, you definitely want to copy the executable stuff. Technically you don't need those two later on, but I'm just too lazy. Hello everyone from chat. I have chat off and notifications off this one time because it is recording material. Actually, oh damn it, I never hit the recording button. I'll just probably export this from Twitch straight away. It's talking about the stuff that I need to copy from one place to another. I definitely want to have a separate save file for this, so it's easier for me to copy the save file folder. And then assets, level, data, sound effects, and word. I can just share the same between my modded and my not modded setups. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this is completely unnecessary. If you just copy paste the whole thing, that's gonna work just fine. But I am going to create a shortcut, or in my case, I'm going to create a symlink junction here for these folders. If you don't have this, you can install, I think it's shell hard link extensions for Windows. It's the advanced stuff. You can also do with this. You can also do symlinks with command line stuff, etc. Advanced usage. Don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now I have like 2 copies of Rainward that share the same files because I didn't need to duplicate them. And this copy only takes a few megabytes. And I can start modding without having duplicated files. Good. So now we have a modded folder, but we still haven't installed a mod loader into it. So how to get a mod loader? The recommended setup for Rainward is to use Bepinx. For simplicity, if you browse over raindb.net, hit the tutorials tab, and find the links, you're going to find a download link for Bepinx. You're also going to find a download link for a mod manager. The recommended one so far is Boy. There's also Realm, which is pretty good. I haven't used either because you don't need to. You can just go out with just a mod loader and you manage your mods. You don't need a mod manager. So pretend I just download this because I think I did. I just show my downloads folder here. So there's Bepinx is gonna come up with a Bepinx folder and 2 more files, and you need all of those inside of your Rainward folder. Pretty simple. Like you can browse the stuff, there's stuff in here, but just copy the whole thing into Rainward. Bepinx is the mod loader. WinHTTP is just a way for the mod loader to get executed when Rainward runs. And doorstep config is configuring this initial hook. Don't need to know of that. If you know it, you might just get lucky trying to understand why your game won't launch or anything. Okay, we have a modded Rainward. Next step, install some mods. If you're not using a mod manager, what you can do is you can go straight to Rainward, Bepinx, plugins, and here is where your plugins live. Apparently this comes pre-installed with a lot of stuff already. Don't like this too much, let me get rid of this. I don't like auto self-updating software because if someone has malicious intent, they can just install malicious stuff to your computer. We've had an issue before with that. I'm going to install what I consider the basics, which are enum extender. It's used for basic modding stuff, adding more creatures, adding more items, adding more stuff. Really, really good tool. I'm going to install config machine, which is for configuring mods. These other files, you don't need them. You can read README if you want to. This XML is only for modders. Auto update if you want to keep it updated. I removed whatever version came pre-installed with it. I don't like it. I'm going to install custom regions. It also comes with enum extender config machine. You see how important that stuff is. And I'm just going to toss in, I think, slug base in there. That was it. We've installed the mod loader and we installed some mods, and now if you launch the game through here... Yeah, I haven't launched the game since May. That says something. If you launch the game through here, it's gonna be the modded experience. It didn't immediately close, but I think it launched first in full screen mode before realizing that it shouldn't be in full screen mode. And how do you know if mods are installed? So one of these changes the options menu, and you can see that change here, mod config. And there we go, list of your mods. And now we know everything is working. Could also go ahead and say download a custom region. Are thumbnails not working, or are they just slow to download? I'll check later. What just happened? Alright. Let's not have 2 songs playing at once. Oh, is Concealed Garden still in there? I'm glad. Okay, next step. I will install some more mods. Music's a little loud. It's a bit loud for me too, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't watching my meters. Which is something I used to do. So, okay, so voice picks up red, music picks up yellow. Probably good now. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to install some more mods. Now, you can find a lot of the mods in RainDB. Like, people send them to Andrew and Andrew puts them here. I don't like having to send stuff to other people to get it where it needs to be. So instead of just posting my mods in the Rainward server, where is it? Modding release channels. Like you see my mods posting here, or you can download my mods from. Not actually download. You can build my mods from their source code, because I put up the source code for my mods. If you do part mod part meme, you might just find my repo, and that's where my mods live. And pretty much all mods that I ever made are here. And you can clone the repo if you know coding stuff, and you can have these mods and build them, etc., and run them. I'll just run over my own personal mods here and copy some that I want to have around for mod development. And those are, for mod development, I want custom sprite loader, which is a much easier way of loading sprites into the game. I want decals hook, which is a fix for one of the menus for placing decals. I want development build for sure, so there's several ways of enabling the dev tools for this game, and this is my favorite. It also enables the setup file, which is something that the others don't do properly. Development build. I'll talk more about the setup file later. And that's probably it. So scan. Manage placed objects would be a good idea to install, but the way I do it, I don't need to install it as a separate mod. Just going through this list. I might just toss Programmer Cat in there, just for kicks and giggles. I'm not sure if this version is up to date. We'll figure it out. Anything else that I care for a development build of the game? Nah. Actually, no, I'll save that for later. I was gonna set up a symlink, but it probably doesn't matter right now. Okay, we installed some mods. Let's see if the game still runs. If it doesn't, that's lucky, because I get to explain why it doesn't run. Hopefully it will run. It run. If I go here, there might just be Programmer Cat. There we go, so our mods are loaded and working. Let's have a look at whatever the game is spitting out. I have zero info on Downpour. I haven't spoiled myself to it, and nobody reached me with anything about mods for it so far, so I don't know. We'll figure it out when it happens. It's probably gonna be a pain. I want to see whatever information the game has spit out to us. So we're gonna look at the log files. So there's console log, and there is exception log in your base game. Not in your base game, but it's almost built into the mod loader. Logfix takes care of that. Apparently custom regions ran into an error. It might be the error that is causing it to fail to download the thumbnails, but we won't be able to debug this on our own. It's gonna be on whoever takes care of custom regions to fix that. And the rest here is just normal logs. And this seems pretty normal. You get used to knowing what's normal to see in here and what's not normal to see in here in console log and exception log. Just for now, know that this is acceptable. Okay, next step. So we've set up our modded install of the game. We've installed some mods. We've ran the game with mods. And what's the next step? We want to make some mods, and that's what we're setting up for. So this is modding setup, not modded playthrough setup. So we're gonna go back somewhere in here, and we're going to download the Spy. We're also going to download Visual Studio Community, which I already have, but just in case you can find it, download this. Download the Spy. For the Spy, be super sure that you're downloading it from the right source. Because there's been an attempt at pushing like a virus version of this at some point, but this is the right one, just get it. And once you have Visual Studio and DNSpy installed, you're pretty much all set to start modding. Let's pretend I just installed those. DNSpy is going to launch up. Visual Studio is going to launch up. I'll go over some details in a little here. Okay, so while that opens up, there we go. We're gonna go over on how to use DNSpy to see the game code. And all you have to do is you have to find the game code, which is in Rainward Data, Manage, Assembly C#. So this is where Unity puts the game code. This game is made with Unity, by the way, if you didn't know it yet. Pick up Assembly C#, drop it into DNSpy. Now, disclaimer here, I don't own this code, I'm just showing this code for educational purposes. I only want to teach people how to make mods for this game, just so you know, I'm not hacking the game or sharing its source code or anything, I just want to teach people how to navigate this. Okay, disclaimer out of the way. This code is a mess. Basically, you don't get a structured like folder directory with files, etc. You just get all the classes that are declared in the same namespace, and it's a mess to manage. And get used to it. You won't be able to fix it easily. But yeah, this is how you get to the game code. If you go, for instance, if you look for something called Rainward in here, which is the entry point for this project. Rainward. It is a mono behavior, so it's being interacting with Unity. And if you go down, you find start, and this is exactly where the game code starts running. And it does its thing. It registers a bunch of custom shaders that the game uses. It loads a bunch of textures that the game uses. It sets up a lot of stuff. It loads the setup file, with a bunch of funny values that do a lot of stuff. And then it's up and running. Let me see if I can find the update function in here somewhere. So Rainward start, load resources, and then update. So this update is what runs the game code. Like update happens every frame. In Unity is a bit different. It's not every frame, but every frame. And then it calls its own process manager update to update the game components. Because Rainward runs in Unity but doesn't use Unity scene management or object management or anything management pretty much at all. There are some exceptions, but mostly Rainward manages its own code and its own objects. And it happens here. Alright, I won't delve too much into it, I just wanted to show you guys how to get the Spy up and running. And now to get Visual Studio up and running. So the setup that I'll do here for like a new project, it's pretty much what you have to do for your first project in this. I already have a solution set up, but I'm gonna create a new project in it. Add new project. And here's where there might be a difference if you're using Visual Studio 2019 versus 2022. That is, I think Class Library has been obsoleted in favor of the SDK project type. So that difference might arise here. But I will use a Class Library because it's what I have available. Here's where you pick your name and where to save it, and this is very important. So Rainward was built against .NET Framework 3.5, and your mods won't run if you pick anything different than 3.5 for now. There might be exceptions. If you don't have 3.5 here, it means you still have to install 3.5 support into Visual Studio. You do that by Visual Studio installer, and then you have to pick the support packages for .NET 3.5 by modifying this install, which is annoying, slow, tiresome. I won't do it here. I already have everything set up. You can find what you need to find in individual components here. So for instance, .NET Framework 3.5 development tools, which I think is all you need. Might be wrong. There might be more information about this out there outside of the scope of this tutorial. Just get it done. Get it done, mate. What is this mod going to be about? I have no idea. Could you people in chat come up with a silly mod idea? Something simple, preferably, but yeah. Create, and what it's going to do is create a new project, and it's going to be an empty project. And floatcat, just have like negative gravity or something. Yeah, sure. Change slugcat stats. So there's two ways to achieve that. I'll briefly cover one of them, just for the sake of completion, and I'll mention the other one. So here's the game code, and legend says you can just straight up go ahead and edit the game code. So you find the slugcat stat that you want to change, and you just change it, right? And now I completely broke my game because this condition is never going to be true. But I can run the game with this, as silly as it is. Alright, let me undo that. I could either undo it here, or I can just... Oh, I didn't save this. Okay, never mind. Yes, I want to close everything. I'm glad I didn't save that. But yeah, you can straight up modify values in dnSpy and have it rebuild and play the game with those modified values, and it's super easy to do, but it's terrible to share because you have to share the entire code of the game to share your mod. So instead of editing the game binary, to say so, it's not a binary, but to say so, instead of editing the game binary and distributing that modified binary, what you want to do really is you want to use a mod loader to load just a tiny modification of the game code. How tiny of a modification of the game code? Well, instead of just the whole game code, your mod is gonna be like a 60-line file that does one little thing, and then the mod loader is in charge of taking that one little thing and putting it back into the game. So we're gonna do something like that for the silly mod project. Where is it? Class 1. I don't want it to be called Class 1, so I'm gonna go press and Ctrl R again, which is rename, and it's gonna be called silly mod idea. Let's rename. Oh yeah, so how do we interact with the mod loader? I didn't think this through, but there is a modding wiki. So I'll go and find the modding wiki for all my modding related questions. Modding wiki. Framework modding wiki. Currently the latest version is in GitHub, they might change at some point, etc, etc. Making code mods, so this is pretty much all we need. It's a bit of what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, so we're gonna need we're gonna need some reference files. We need to reference the mod loader in order to interact with the mod loader. So let's have a look at what we need here. So we need to reference these files. I can either use them where they are straight away, or I can copy them somewhere to have like a stable version of these files. In the case of my project here, if I go to this project folder, can I open this on Explorer? Yes. I already have a reference folder where I store my everything here, all my references to like other mods and to the game files. So I can just reference this instead. So in my silly mod idea, I'm going to project, add references, and I'll be referencing Unity. Which of the hooks version is this? I should just have to check which version of this file this is specifically. Oh, so this is the old one. I want to use the new one. The new one's got to be in here. Yeah, the new one is here. Okay. So we can reference Unity from here. We can reference assembly C# from here. And I want to reference a few more. Those few more are going to be in that references folder that I already have set up. You should probably set up one for yourself. And honestly, I can just do this. And I think that's right. What? Downloads temp browse mod references. Oh, that's so silly. Oh yeah, I was doing like a different tutorial a while ago. Okay, this one should be fine, not this one. So what am I missing here? I'm missing Unity Engine and Assembly C#. I mean, a chaotic tutorial is nice because it teaches you how to solve problems. If you're unable to solve problems on your own, you're screwed. So there's a little bit of problem solving here that I want to go through anyways. Send the C# and Unity Engine, go. Okay, so hopefully what I did here is I added references. Hopefully now my project knows what a Unity is. There it is, Unity Engine dot stuff, and I can do stuff with Unity now. That's what references are for. What else do we want to do? We want to let the mod loader know that our silly mod idea is actually a mod. And the way that you do that is very specific. You need to reference BepNex, so you need to use some BepNex specific stuff. We're using BepNex, and we're tagging our mod. This is like an annotation or field or tag. It's called differently in each language that you use, but you're saying that this class is a mod class, is a Pepin plugin. Call it nms dot silly mod idea. Usually put your name first and then the name of the mod later, just as a way to get a unique name. This is the unique key that has to be really unique. Because if you call your mod friend, passage, outlaw, whatever, it's pretty high chances someone else is gonna make a mod that is called the same, and then you need a way to differentiate both. Version literally doesn't matter, and there we go. So this is a mod. It does absolutely nothing, but if I wanted to build this and load it, it would load, I think. Pretty sure. Let's try it. So if I Control B for building, if I try and build this mod, silly mod idea has been put here. I'll copy this path and open it on the browser. Which of these do I want to keep? I want to keep that. Or that. There we go. So browse to find the file. Put a lot of files here. If I don't want to have Visual Studio put out this many files, something I can do is in the project settings for silly mod idea, for all these references, I can set up copy local to false. Now it won't copy a local copy of these references. I can now clean this, which removes everything from here. And if I build this again, it's gonna be just the silly mods file. There we go. Okay, we have our mod built. It does absolutely nothing. Let's get to our modded install. Find the plugins folder, and this is where the magic happens. So for anything that is in the plugins folder, if the mod loader finds a mod in here, it loads it. So we'll put silly mod idea in here. Now I could copy this every time that I make a little change, and that gets old really fast, and sometimes you're like trying to change stuff and you forget to copy it. So a better alternative is to not copy it, instead drop a symlink here. So I'll drop a symlink here. And now we test it. We test it by launching the game. We start closing some stuff that I'm not currently using. That's it. That's it. Game. Okay, game loaded. That's all I needed. I'll immediately close the game and I'll look at logs. So it's not gonna be exception log that I care about. It's not gonna be console log that I care about. I want to see the mod loaders log, which is in the mod loaders folder. And what you're gonna find in this log is a lot of spam about function methods being translated between the old mod loader type and the new mod loader type, and then at the very end the useful info, which is telling you which mods it loaded. Loaded mod. Config machine, custom regions mod, custom sprite loader, recalls mod. Good, and I was still picking the catalog base. It didn't load or mod or silly mod idea mod. Why so? Why didn't that load? Two plugins to load. That's weird. Silly mod idea. BAP next. Plugins, silly-mod-idea.dol. Okay, first stage of debugging, why didn't this run? I'll go back to the tutorial and see if I missed any steps. Oh yeah, I missed a very important one. So my mod type, even though it says that mod, it doesn't implement the mod code. Yeah. So we need to actually say that this mod is a loadable mod thing, otherwise it's not happening. Now here's a weird detail about how BepNext works. If it scans a file and it finds nothing, it caches that it didn't find nothing. And if you're using a symlink, you have to clear the cache. Silly bug. Rainward. Rainward not responding. Rainward. And good. Now we go back to BepNext log output, and now we see that it loaded our silly mod idea 1.0. Nice. So we have code being quote-unquote injected into the game now. That's a lot of power. What do we want to do with this? So we've mentioned editing the game directly, like going in here, doing your changes in the middle of the code, and saving that, and having that be your mod. As easy as it is, it's awful to distribute because you have to build the whole game code and distribute the whole game code, and that's pretty illegal because we're sharing code that you don't own. And what's the difference here? The difference here is that you're going to write only certain methods that run at hook points. And what are hook points? Hook points are when the hooks run. What the hell are hooks? Step 3, hooking. Let them have this support material. The basic idea is that when your mod turns on, you're going to register some hooks attached to certain hook points. So mod turns on is, I'll copy this just to be sure that I have the right syntax because I'm alpha typing out stuff. On enable is a method that is run for you on every Unity plugin automatically when your mod is switched on, I guess, when your mod is loaded into the game. And here's where you're supposed to register hook points, or register hooks, sorry. And what the hell do we want to do? Okay, step 3.5, figure out what the hell do we want to do. So this is where this little back and forth might get confusing, but it is to teach you how you're supposed to think. So here in the Unspy, there's a reason we downloaded this. It was not to edit the game code, but it's to read the game code. So you might want to read, for instance, how the hell does the player function? How the hell does the player work? And the player is a massive file with like 5,000 lines or so, 7,000 lines. It does a lot of stuff. So we might need to do a little bit of filtering or research, or yeah, just narrow down what we want to change. Someone tossed the idea in chat that was to make Slugcat with helium just floating. So that's going to probably have to be with how Slugcat interacts with the gravity. Hey, there we go, there's a gravity setting in Slugcat. There is a gravity setting in stuff you can grab. There is a gravity field in the room. So there's the Slugcat's gravity, there is the room's gravity. And if you go through all of this code, just looking at what mentions gravity, you figure out that that's pretty much it. A lot of stuff uses a little bit of both, so your own gravity, stuff like the room gravity to the same equation. Let's see what happens if you just change Slugcat's gravity. Get set sets physical object.g, which is a private here. Alright. And now, here's one thing. We might just go ahead and try and set this, but it would be nice to know what else is using this, or what else is setting this. So I just did a shortcut here, which is for inspecting this code, the analyzer. You can also go through here and do... I hate this song, make it stop. There we go, much better. You can go through here and do an analyze call, which is gonna open up this menu, which is about showing you what uses gravity. And what uses gravity? A lot of stuff uses gravity in this game, turns out. A lot of stuff. Player.everything uses gravity. But what changes gravity? It turns out a lot of stuff changes gravity. Including player. Player sets his own gravity to 0.9 at the start of the cycle, at the start of when the player is instantiated. If you don't know object-oriented programming, stop right now and go fix that. Come back with a little bit of knowledge about C# and a little bit of knowledge about object-oriented programming. But continuing, so player sets his own gravity. I'm looking for other stuff that might set the player gravity at some point. So creature, let's see if creature in here. Does creature show up in the list? Does creature set gravity? No. Physical object, does physical object set gravity somewhere? Neither. Awesome. So apparently, maybe if we change just the player gravity when the player is started, it might just work. So how do we do that? How do we change the player's gravity when the player is created? We're looking at the constructor function here, and we want to hook so we can have some extra code that runs when this happens. How do you do that? If we do on player dot constructor, and we want to add to this function a certain hook. So we have a player constructor hook. We want to add to this function a little bit of code, and the code that we want to do is self dot gravity equals a very low number. How low? So currently it's set to 0.9. Let's set it to 0.1. Float and offline. This that I did right here, it's not gonna work, but it's the right idea. How to make this work is, when writing a hook, you're replacing the method pretty much, but you can still opt to rerun the original method. So I could either copy paste off this. Don't do that. Don't copy paste off this. Not your code, you don't own it, and it has terrible consequences. Or we can tell the mod loader or the hooking infrastructure to run the original method back again. So we want to let the original method run before our code change happens. I want to run the original method on ourselves with the same parameters for everything. I just copy those parameters. And now what this is doing, it's running the original method. So the method that you see here, it's all running. And then we're setting the player gravity to something else. Order of these two, very important. Always calling the original method, very important. Very few reasons for you not to call the original method. You almost always should do so. It also helps with mod compatibility. I'll explain that later down the line, how this works with other mods. But yeah, made our mod, built our mod builds. We know it's loadable by the mod loader. Normally you'd have to copy here, I already have it linked, so it's the latest version every time. And we launch the game and we see what happens. Now what should happen is that now Slugcat is extremely floaty. And as you guessed, it worked. Pretty rare occasion for a mod to work first time, but I'm somewhat experienced and this mod was somewhat simple. Now, this approach is a bit limited. Because a lot of the animations don't take into account only Slugcat's gravity, which is like a modifier, but also the room's gravity. And the room's gravity is a bit more annoying to change because it's shared between all objects. If you want to figure out a way to change the room's gravity only for Slugcat, you have to do some nasty stuff. Extra complicated steps. I won't cover them in this one tutorial, but you can have a look at some of my mods that do in fact switch up and down for the game's gravity. Yeah, first mod succeed. We installed everything, we found in the game code where we wanted to do our thing, and we did it in like a session. Awesome. I think this might be a wrap up for part 1 here. I skipped some steps. I didn't show you how to install everything like Visual Studio, etc. If you're not able to figure some of that out on your own, you're gonna be in trouble. Get learning how to learn, because if you're gonna do anything different than this, then you need to be self-sufficient on figuring out how you're gonna do it. I'll try and cover the basics. I won't babysit you in your whole journey. So yeah, hopefully you learned something. Maybe it was something new, maybe it was just something that you need clarified. And see you guys next time on the next episode. I'll figure out what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be something much more complicated. It might be a room object or a custom slug. Either way, see you guys next time.